It's been like 2 years since we sat in line, like actually done this. You know.
All right, so
The earth is open.
The earth is open today.
Kayfabe was a way to give show respect to the audience and respect your own business. It was a way. Talk about your songs, talk about John 360.
Kayfabe Avenue.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please. Unjustifiably in a position that I'd rather not be in. But the cream rise to the top, oh yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, heels and faces, casual wrestling fans, and all you smart marks. I'm Richie Moon.
And I'm Kayfabe AJ.
And I'm Kayfabe
And
Focus.
this is Kayfabe Avenue. And last night was hot WrestleMania Summerslam. On and popping. I just want to say this straight off the gate. It was really good. We broke all kinds of records, social media. We broke our previous year's records of attendance sales and gates.
You're forgetting the A's at the end of every word. Records.
We broke last year's gates and
Social media.
And I just want to thank our partners and all the great stadiums that we sell out every year. And we look forward to just working with all the great outlets. No, but seriously, it was
And then you got split.
right.
I think going into the SummerSlam, everybody saw the runtime was 8 hours. I think that scared everybody. And then when I realized it was 3 hours of a pre-show that had no matches on it.
Holy shit.
I realized there was no reason to feel like scared to lock in because they were saying the whole time the show starts at 7.
Right.
So, I saw that complaint going around. Oh my God, it's 8 hours and there's only this much amount of wrestling, and
They spread it out nicely. They always do.
the show was really good.
I feel like it was way too many how do you say backstage panel segments during the pre-shows.
3 hours.
Or like you have like an interviewer saying, I've spoken to somebody last a couple hours ago, and they told me this, that, and that. Well, why don't you just interview him right now in front of the camera?
Or why don't you show us
Exactly.
when you interacted?
Exactly. Why are you just saying that? Just like, oh, I'm just making shit up from my
I
ass.
think WWE could have utilized that pre-show 3 hours a little bit better. You could have had at least one match.
I had some NXT matches. Hell, even have a TNA match. Do a concert with Joe Hendry. Make it have him collaborate with Jelly Roll. That would have been something like another WrestleMania moment. But
nevertheless, though, let's go on to the main card. We started off with the return of Mommy versus the WWE Women's Champion Liv Morgan. This was, it was hot and heavy. Let's note that Mommy was accompanied by Dirty Dominic Mysterio, who is going to end up playing a big role in this match. What did you gentlemen think about this hot opening?
Well, the first thing I did before the show started, like literally 5 minutes before that match started, I texted my homegirl and I told her, Dom is gonna betray Mommy. It's gonna happen. And she said, and I mentioned this, shout out to Indy. I mentioned this because she's like rediscovering or like getting into the fandom and into like watching it.
Did she ever watch before, or was this like the first time?
I think she dabbled before, probably like almost everyone else in the Attitude Era. Knows a little bit about that.
You might have seen the little bit of China Eddie Guerrero stuff.
Possibly, but now she's like entering the fandom now behind, the Tribal Chief, everything that's been going on, Judgment Day, Rhea Ripley. That's what hooked her, the whole Dom story with Rhea Ripley. Right. So seeing her innocently send me a message like, but no, look. And she sends me Dom on Twitter with a picture of him and Mommy. I'm like, oh, she's getting worked.
That's beautiful.
She's getting worked. So
she's supposed to get worked. It's good.
No, and that's why I mentioned it, because that was a good start to the show, because it's like, all right, I got the perspective from a newer fan
Right.
that probably doesn't know the ins and outs or the behind the scenes so much.
Uh-huh.
So it was refreshing. I sent her that. She sent me the little screenshot of Dom sending a picture on Twitter or whatever it was.
Mhm.
So
That's so.
that was hilarious. But that match itself, from the beginning, the way they set it up, like Bloodline isn't the only thing that's cinema. Like I
No,
think
not
that's
at
been
all.
like Triple H's era is all about every match having a reason, having a long term story built into it.
Mhm.
And this is like the mid year cap off, we could say. Like
Yeah.
SummerSlam is where
Yeah,
now the next couple of stories are gonna start branching into what WrestleMania is gonna end up looking like.
that part.
So coming into this, Rhea Ripley winning or retaining at WrestleMania, gets injured, I think what night after, by Liv Morgan. That becomes the whole, storyline of the revenge tour. She tries to get Dominic. So, all that built in just the entrance of Rhea and Dom coming in. She's all smiley and he's, all into it, playing it up. I'm like, he's definitely turning right. There's no way we're gonna get the happy ending.
Yeah.
She wins her title back. Like, nah, no way. So the way that they would give it like the subtle, like you could just tell
Yeah.
in that walk to the stage, that to the ring, that they were gonna definitely swerve us or do the heel turn. But the match itself, I think that was probably arguably I throw that match against any match of the night.
Yeah, it was
That-
pretty good.
Like from
There
start
was
to finish.
storyline. There was brutality. You had a dislocated shoulder. Going the term shoulder slam.
And that ends up playing up into the next match too. That hilarious that you said that.
Right.
But yeah, the spot you're talking about with Rhea's shoulder, I'm pretty sure
selling.
my
Yeah, some
homegirl
great
first
selling.
time watching something like that, selling the hell out of popping her shoulder back into place. Now, the way she was selling that, like she was kind of like flexing her shoulder, it really looked like something could have been dislocated.
Crazy.
Yeah, like
And
some big
yeah,
nasty
you
bump.
kind of was like, yo, her shoulder looks wild. I'm like, nah. She's pulling the Alexa Bliss on us, doing that double jointed shit that Alexa does, but this time, like really popping her shoulder out, but look nasty. She, trying to pop it into place multiple times throughout the match, but just overall, Liv's role in this match, Rhea Ripley's role in this match, and then of course, Dominic's role in this match, all well done. They kind of did the Dom interrupts, but it made sense why he was interfering at the moment, telling Rhea Ripley, like, if you hit her with this steel chair, you're not gonna win the title that way.
Yeah.
So it didn't look in that moment that he was protecting Liv Morgan. It looked like he was actually being a smart one for Rhea Ripley in this case, which kind of sinks you deeper into that. Oh, he might not turn.
Yeah.
He might stay faithful to her, and then boom, not even 2 minutes probably later after that, she ends up
Yeah, he ends up distracting the referee. He slides in another chair, and he ends up distracting the referee. And then that's when Liv hits the Oblivion onto
after the
Ripley.
first Oblivion that was kicked out.
Right. Keep that in that. Yeah.
So he ends up setting up the chair by mistake,
Right.
and then Liv Morgan takes advantage, slams her in.
Hits the Oblivion on the chair.
As soon as she wins, you see the smile on his face. But the way the camera work was done,
He turned his back.
he turned his back, and Rhea Ripley didn't really know what was going on.
Yeah, she couldn't see.
It was her seeing the replay,
Yes.
and then seeing him smiling. To cap it off, as of grabbing Liv Morgan, sharing a passionate kiss. He's either the luckiest man this year or the most unlucky man to go home and explain this shit week to week. The man is married, so you going from Rhea Ripley having the story with Liv Morgan, I don't think we've ever seen Rhea Ripley and him kiss, but Liv Morgan and him have been going like,
No, they never outright kissed.
yeah, they've been going for it, and I think that was more of a respect for Buddy Murphy
Yeah.
being Rhea Ripley's now husband.
And then what everybody's comfortable with in the storyline. But yeah, that was a fun match. That was a great opener. Shout out to Rhea Ripley for all that good selling, and I think it made sense that Liv Morgan would win. It makes the story progress. Dirty Dom going even dirtier. You know what I'm saying? He's even dirtier.
Just when you thought he couldn't get any more filthy.
Filthy Dom now. This filthy Dom. Filthy Dom. You know what I'm saying?
He's worse than Dango now.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's really important to note out that how that Rhea Ripley found out that Dirty Dom turned on her by looking at the big screen, which will come around again.
Which would have happened if she was in AEW because they don't have replays, but
I know they're starting to replay.
They
over
do?
there. They're starting to replay.
I
That was one of
haven't
the
seen
big things I used to complain about, and then shortly after they started doing replays.
I don't remember the last time they did a replay.
It's
I feel like all the spots they try to do, they need to have replays for.
It's not causing any incursion. Stand up.
It's not
Right.
gonna be encouraging.
Right.
This is
So,
the
yeah.
work.
Stay in the universe we're supposed to be talking about.
It's in WWE universe.
So before we move on,
Uh-huh.
what do you rate the match? Let's say out of 10, what would you give Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley?
I'd give it an 8.
That's fair.
I'd give it an 8.
Do I have to give it a number? I don't want to give it a number. I just prefer to say that I had fun watching the match. Both of them did a good job. It was a good wrestling match. I don't want to give it. But I
You
did
don't
have,
give it a number?
yeah, I did have.
I think if I
had
had
a
to
good
give it a
time. I had
number,
good time.
I'm gonna
It
give
was
it
good
like a good 8.5.
It was a good stuff.
Like I said, I think that match, the opener, it held up almost against any match of the night.
And this is his first match back in a couple of months, so it was really fun. I had a great time, a really good time. With the match. A really good time.
So next up was Braun Breaker.
Good. I didn't remember. I have the lineup. That's why I keep looking down, folks. But I just didn't know. I didn't know the order. Okay, so Braun Breaker.
Braun Breaker and Sami Zayn
Okay.
for the Intercontinental Championship. We did have Rick and Scott Steiner in attendance.
And Big Diesel.
And who?
Diesel was there too.
And Johnny was there.
And
Yeah.
DDP.
I saw DDP there, but I didn't.
In that box up there that they referred to, it was DDP, Kevin Nash, Jackie, Rick, Scott, probably somebody else, but that's who. Yeah.
WCW lives. I didn't know he was there. That's cool. But a lot of legends were present. Notably Rick and Scott Steiner, because of course that's his father and uncle. So they got to watch probably the biggest moment of
his career so far.
Braun Breaker's career, and I think going out of SummerSlam, they need to just change his fucking name to Steiner at this point. Like,
I would like for him to be called Braun Steiner.
the boys of legacy. We already
Braun Breaker
know
Steiner.
Braun.
I wouldn't mind Braun Breaker Steiner. I would not mind
or Braun Steiner the Breaker.
Right, you know what I'm
Something
saying?
like
Braun
that.
Breaker Steiner. I would not mind him. I do think Steiner does need to be.
They need to, like, besides like the casual mentions, they need to just straight up acknowledge that he is a Steiner.
I mean,
Like,
but they do though. They do. That's not.
they
That's not a
did
hidden thing
for
anymore.
this SummerSlam because they definitely harped on the fact that this is like the second appearance of a Steiner on SummerSlam. The first one being, I think, 92 for the tag titles. The Steiner brothers, obviously. So that's big in history itself. But as far as this match goes, Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker, this is the second time these guys are going up against each other. Last time Sami Zayn pulled off the victory with a haluva kick, which I felt I understood because they wanted to stretch to get to SummerSlam, but I'm a huge supporter of Braun Breaker.
That wasn't believable to me.
This is the match that everybody thought today. The match they had last night was a match they thought they were going to have last month. This was not a squash match by any means, but Braun Breaker destroyed Sami Zayn, as he should.
Yeah, he was definitely. It was a match. The match starts with him running straight into a pole, shoulder first. That's why he called it shoulder.
Right.
Man, the shoulder straight into the turnbuckle.
So whoever produced these matches, maybe you should have spread that spot out a little bit.
Yeah, like we just watched Rhea Ripley bang her shoulder into place like 5 times.
this is gonna happen.
minutes before
This
this.
is also gonna happen in another match too. This is gonna happen in somebody else's match too with the shoulder spot like that.
I don't
Shoulder
remember
snap.
though.
Yeah, shoulder spot.
But yeah, so shoulder snap continued. It started off with him running straight into
Mhm.
the turnbuckle, shoulder first, you know, because he's all momentum. So
Right.
that made sense. Sammy capitalized off that.
Mhm.
So Sammy did have a little bit of momentum in the beginning. They played a lot on his shoulder, not being able to fully lift Sami Zayn up for the body press
Mhm.
that he does. So good storytelling as far as that. But once that boy got going, yeah, it was like
It was
no
fire.
coming. It was no
Right.
coming back. There was
Very
no coming
fire.
back for Sami Zayn. It was over.
That Frankenbreaker was crazy.
Yeah, I like that. Like even though we see it like everybody do it, but the way he does it though, it's just
Not-
so
he's-
different.
If anybody should take the genetic freak tagline from Scott, it should be Braun Breaker because I'm
He is.
still amazed. Nobody runs the ropes the way he runs
Nobody.
the ropes. Nobody. I've seen Andre, Big Show, all these huge people run the ropes, run the ring. They never move the ring. This man moves the ring on impact of the ropes, like alone.
He spoke about this on the post show, and you have to be so precise to run the ropes at that speed to not only hurt yourself, but to keep your opponent safe. And he said on the post show, he's busted his ass a lot. Run those ropes that much because you have to hit it at a certain turning and all that.
Yeah,
all those
timing.
various ropes before that shit is
And those are like steel cables,
Right.
Ropes.
hit them
So-
at that speed.
You don't get some kind of rash or some kind of bruising.
You check every time he runs the rope,
Ridiculous.
check his back.
Right.
He has the rope marks every time.
You get a callus too
But-
after a while.
They have a good match. They run through their moveset. It wasn't a great technical showing. It was
Yeah.
enough of what Sami Zayn does and just enough of Braun Breaker. Good match. If I have to give it a number, I'd give it like a 6.5, 7. But
This is
highly enjoyed it.
Right.
His first major championship on the main roster. Of course, he was an NXT champion. I think he was North American champion for a little bit
he
too.
was NXT
I'm
tag team
not sure
champion.
about that.
He was
Fact
NXT
check
tag
me
team
later.
champion, and he was an NXT World Heavyweight champion. Yeah, this is his first one on
Yes,
the main
so-
roster.
He ran through the NXT ranks and now he's finally solidified himself. First Intercontinental Championship. So congrats to Braun Breaker. That's exactly what I wanted to see. It was exactly the kind of match that I personally wanted to watch.
Yeah.
So what was next after that?
Next up was everybody's talking about the megastar. LA Knight, yeah. Versus
Yeah.
Logan Paul for the United States Championship. Oh, and your favorite made his appearance, AJ. MGK came down with
That doesn't say MGK. By the way, that doesn't say
AJ's
MGK.
favorite rapper came through. And it
Doesn't say MGK. But like I told you yesterday, I think you probably have that blue flame shirt.
I don't.
That's
Not the blue.
MGK
I have
decided
the red. But yo, this match was crazy. I got scared a couple of times. It looked like I know I'm kind of just jumping all over this match, but there was a spot. It was like a superplex, but he took it kind of like a brain buster.
That was one of
Wow.
that was one of two spots that had me like
Yeesh, that move, that spring
Logan
to the
Paul.
outside.
Wait, we gotta give Logan Paul his
Yeesh.
just due. People are hating him right now online over his comments over that Olympic situation. I won't get into it here, but people hating him online over that. He's been in controversy. A lot of people love to hate Logan Paul. This guy just continues to amaze me.
You can say whatever you want about him. You can't call him a bad wrestler though.
He gets everything.
Can't call
I've
him a bad
never
wrestler.
seen someone do. First of all, he like jumped backwards on the rope, spun, and then springboard in one of the most cleanest moonsaults I probably ever seen to the outside of the ring. Like,
yeah, it was crazy.
I can't think it's been like 30 years of fucking watching wrestling. So
It was like watching Sabu do a fucking Anaheim moonsault.
But like actually doing it, hitting it.
Nah,
Nah.
he gets
Don't say
airtime.
that.
He looks graceful when he does it. Like he looks like he puts his mind to something and it just happens for him effortlessly. And it's like, as much as people can't stand him, you have to respect it. Like, who else is doing this? There's veterans who've been in this game like 20 something years that cannot do half of what the hell Logan Paul is doing.
And not only that, he can tell a good story in the match. It's not just about his athleticism, because everybody can do tricks and flips. But he actually is telling good stories in the matches.
He's a believable heel because he's an asshole in real life.
That part,
you know.
So right, he's doing his thing, and he's just getting better. Every match, he gets better and better. So I you know what, and also to that credit, I want to shout out to LA Knight. LA Knight sometimes sometimes he, we just look at the catchphrases and all that and the promos, but I think he steps his game up when need be, especially since his match with AJ at Mania. He stepped up to the plate then, and he stepped up last night. You know what I'm saying? Doing that, he was on the second rope, jumped up to the third rope, and then dropped the elbow like that. I've never, I've never seen anybody do a move. I've never seen anybody do that. So I think some people were saying that it might have been WWE might have missed LA Knight's moment. I don't think that at all. I don't
if
think
he would have lost last night,
that wouldn't be a good look.
100%, he would have lost his moment. That's why it is honestly a lot of the card. If you've been paying attention or you've been following, a lot of it was predictable. But sometimes that's not a bad thing. Like they give you the outcomes that you want to see, or you feel like it's coming to that point. LA Knight, if he didn't win last night, his stock would have 100% dropped.
They would have got he would have been Dolph Ziggler.
Unfortunately, he might have. In another era, he might have. But
like we were saying earlier, there's people 20 years in the game that aren't doing or that's even getting opportunities in the way of Logan Paul, and LA Knight fits in that. So if you're not gonna pull the trigger now, when?
But this was actually, but you know what? I think actually to Triple H and his team's credit, this was actually a good moment because we're at that point like where we wanted it to change hands. You know what I'm saying? So it's like he's gonna do a lot of good work with that belt. He's gonna open up a lot of different challenges for that. So shout out to LA Knight, and Logan Paul for having a good match. That was a really good match. A lot of shenanigans, but I was very sports entertained by it. Very sports. Entertained.
So towards the end, you had LA Knight beating up the Prime people. Which I felt like was well justified because I expect.
If there's one bad thing, there's one down on this. LA Knight, how you not beat up MJK? How you not beat up MJK? How you not? You know what I'm saying? Should beat that man down. Yeah.
That's why it doesn't matter how
he should have put him through a table or something.
This match could have been a 10, but it's gonna be a 5 because you did not lay hands on MGK. We want to see. We needed Kevin Owens to come back and powerbomb MGK again. We need a part 2 of that.
With nothing to do with the storyline at all. Just come to powerbombs.
You're back.
Out.
You're back here.
It should be.
I don't give a fuck if Jelly Roll co-signed you.
It should be a wrestling tradition that somebody gets that MGK gets powerbombed every time he makes an appearance.
Like Pete Rose or Kane.
He should be the new Pete Rose. He needs to get powerbombed every time he shows up on TV.
Yeah.
This is about number 3, so. He owes us about 2 power bombs through table.
He's overdue.
He's overdue. He's overdue. So yeah, the match was pretty great, hard hitting, very entertaining, good storyline, good outcome. It's a 5 because he didn't hit MGK at all. So what was the next?
Next up, I don't know if this is the order, but it happened. We're gonna go with Nia Jax versus the champion Bayley, the WWE Women's Champion Bayley, and. Triple H even said this on the post show that sometimes Bayley gets overlooked. She's so good that she gets overlooked, and we've seen this happen in wrestling historically. Like a guy like X-Pac. X-Pac gets looked over sometimes. One of the best wrestlers ever.
I don't think X-Pac necessarily ever got overlooked. Let's think about it. He was probably King Cruiserweight in his time.
Well,
European champion.
Maybe not over. I don't think overlooked is the right word. I don't think overlooked is the right word.
No,
Appreciate that.
Appreciate
That's
it.
I feel like X-Pac had that Miz role back in the day before Miz even got there. But he made it work. He had what was that stable? He had not only
X
just-
Factor.
yeah, X Factor, and then
DX.
prior for that it was DX. He had
Tag team with Kane.
Tory.
He was
You know,
in
he had a
AEW.
lot of things going for him. And didn't he won some accolades like a couple
Yeah,
times.
I
Already.
think-
Like I said, Intercontinental
he's-
European
Like
Cruiserweight.
he's not
unified the
he's not-
WCW
right,
Cruiserweight and
he's not a
WWF.
jobber. He's not a jobber.
I used the wrong word. It was appreciated. I use that to compare it to Bailey because Bailey is so good that sometimes
Let's
she kind of gets
call
like
a spade a spade.
not
Let's
appreciated.
call a spade a spade.
Uh-huh.
Her run was boring as fuck.
They didn't.
He doesn't have any riz.
The thing is, I really
No
wanted.
charisma at all.
I really enjoyed Nia since she came back, and I wanted her to win. But I felt like, damn, I wanted Bailey to win because I feel like they just didn't do enough with it. I feel like her run could have been more fun because of how she won it from all the damage control fallout and all that. And then it just kind of her run was a little flat. It was a little flat.
I kind of gotta disagree. Bailey, with what Focus said, it's not that Bailey don't got riz because when she was doing the ding dong hello shit, that shit was hilarious. When she was running with
So
Sasha.
what was that during this run?
And that's the problem. Let's go back all the way to the beginning of this run. Because even her lead up to winning the belt, trash. They focus more on everyone else in the storyline besides Bailey.
Yeah.
And it was like the whole damage control situation. It was like, oh yeah, but Bailey is kind of an afterthought in it. She wasn't promoted heavily before WrestleMania. She wasn't in all these media interviews. She was not showcased at all. So it was like going into this win for her at WrestleMania, we didn't really give a shit about the storyline. The only thing we really cared is if the belt got off of EO in that moment, so she could get her shine. I love Bailey. I'm not knocking it at all.
Good though.
But the way she's been presented has been terrible because even her first couple of situations after her win, it was more about who she was dealing with than actually what Bailey is doing with this belt.
Yeah, I agree.
It was more about everyone else that was interacting. Like you're the champion, but you're playing second fiddle to the Naomi and Tiffany Stratton story.
They do this sometimes.
And then
they do this sometimes.
By the time we got to SummerSlam, it was like, yo, please, in my opinion, please take the belt off of her. At this point, I was more invested in Nia Jax and her character, her Queen of the Ring win, her run since coming back, dominating, beating everybody. I was more invested in that than I was in anything Bailey has done in the last 5.5 months or whatever it has been since WrestleMania. So it was the time. They made the right decision, but I don't put blame on Bailey for this run. Bailey did what she needed to do. She held the belt long enough to get it to the next storyline. She does her work to the best ever. But when you got somebody who was a 4-horsewoman, was the forefront of this women's revolution, she's one of the last Mohicans in that group because Charlotte's out, Sasha's in AEW, and Becky is looking like she might be semi-retired or at least taking a hiatus from WWE.
Yeah, she had a long break.
So she's the only horsewoman we got left. They need to present her in that way.
They don't.
So
Hunter even said it in the post show that he said it himself. Rick, she's so good. She gets overlooked sometimes.
I feel like
bro, you're booking it. So.
She's better off as a heel.
Sure is.
Because,
yes,
bro.
It
She's
only-
face right now.
let's be real.
She doesn't have no risk.
The only time her good character worked was when she was hugging people.
And now it's like it's not working. You need to turn back heel. Like something needs to happen.
Is that even when they turn her face, you're only face because your heel group turned on you, but you were literally a piece of shit the whole 2 years leading up to that. Literally, every woman on SmackDown had a legitimate reason to shit on Bailey.
Nah, that was her best run. That really was that pandemic run. pandemic run Bailey was
That's
really
what she had. That's what she had all the charisma and shit like that.
Yeah.
But it's now it's like
yeah.
now you're going back to this face thing, but it seems like she doesn't know how to be face and try to get over because she doesn't have the face charisma.
That natural organic baby, like that the Cody effect, that Cody magic. You know what I'm saying?
Or the natural that Damian Priest did from going from heel to face in a matter of like 3 months.
I mean, can we just be real too for a moment? And this is gonna be kind of harsh. And I know it is before I even say it. She's the least interesting women's champion in the entire company. At least the NXT Women's Championship has been ringing more bells than her run.
yeah. I don't think
The
that's
women's
really
tag
on her.
team champions have had better stories in the past
I don't-
6 months.
I don't know who even attacks shit.
The tag team champions right now are what's her name? Isla Dawn and
Alba Fire.
Alba Fire. They beat Jade Cargill
I remember that.
and Bianca. They just had a rematch on Friday on SmackDown. Those stories have been more interesting than anything Bailey has been doing. The women's title on Raw has been more interesting than anything she's been doing.
I don't think that's
So-
what Bailey. I don't think that's what Bailey's
And
fault.
that's the first thing I said though. It's not on Bailey. It's the way they was lack of promoting Bailey
Mhm.
and just the storyline didn't fit. They needed something significant for her to do after the EO situation. Like, I think maybe taking them girls off of SmackDown and throwing them on Raw was probably the worst decision because there probably should have been a little bit more fallout between Damage Control and Bailey. Like, so you didn't want to put the beats on any other ones. You didn't.
I think
Oscar's I think Oscar's injured, but we didn't get that one-on-one between her and Kyrie Sane, which would have been a perfect storyline considering she beat the shit out of Kyrie Sane and kicked her out the company when she was doing that run with Sasha. So that was one of the stories I was like, oh, Kyrie's back. She joined Damage Control. She's back with Oscar, but she got this long-standing beef, and they didn't harp on that enough. Like, it's sad to say, but that storyline probably would have popped more if Kyrie was the champion in that moment and not Io Sky.
might have. Yeah,
You know,
it might have. It might
we
have.
can only speculate, but
I really like the way that Nia ended this match. She dominated, but hitting both Annihilator, boom, hitting another one, boom, sitting on the Yokozuna style. I was like, a family, 1, 2, 3.
that's all I thought when she, especially when she did the pose. That's
Yeah.
all I could think of was Yoko. So good match. Exactly what I expected from it, honestly. But it didn't disappoint. It wasn't boring. But if I'm gonna be honest, I think this was probably if there is great SummerSlam, but if there was a low point on the card, I think it would have been this match. I think if anybody needed a break, they took it on this match.
All right, next up, we have the Blood Feud match, man. Oh man, this is some people are gonna say this might be the feud of the year, and it's still going. It's still going. It can spin out in so many ways. We had Drew McIntyre versus returning CM Punk with Seth freaking Rollins as a special guest referee. This match was fun. I liked it. Filled with drama, all the things I expected. I think they could have waited a little. I mean, Seth got involved like immediately. He was like a big factor in the match immediately. I thought they could have held off on that a bit. Drew McIntyre really beat the shit out of CM Punk really for this match. I mean, Drew, don't get it twisted. CM Punk got his stuff in, but Drew really dominated most of this match. But maybe that was
I feel like this match was
intentional.
kind of too short. They needed an extra 5 minutes
I felt the same
to
way.
feel like for either Drew McIntyre to get some like more hard hits in, or to get CM Punk look like a legitimate person to try to beat Drew and stuff. I felt like they relied too much on Seth Rollins' involvement. I mean, even though, it was enough, but had they added more violence between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, it would have even made it even better.
I agree. They probably did need a few more spots. They did like you said, Seth Rollins immediately using his powers as a referee. CM Punk started smashing Drew McIntyre's head into the steel steps. Seth starts turning around. Those elements of the match did happen too quick. That should have probably been drawn out a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Let them have a legitimate, wrestling match to start. Lock up, do all the
whoa,
straight-
no. I don't mean to cut you off, but the only reason I'm saying that is because these two had a blood feud. I'd have been so pissed off if these two got in the ring and locked up. No, the reason when they started off fighting, that's exactly how they should have started off this match. They've been feuding.
Yeah,
it's
but
been
that
personal.
that
it's all
already that already was null and void when you got Seth Rollins in the middle of this shit,
And he's trying to separate them.
and he's separating them from the beginning.
I'm gonna for my personal purpose, I'm gonna say any blood feud should always start like that.
Literally, but it didn't. It didn't start like that. It started with Seth Rollins literally screaming at both of them, stand right here, separated them, and then made them, fight when they wanted.
Right.
If the way you described it,
Yeah.
I would have thought if I didn't watch the match myself, I would have thought CM Punk ran straight in and started punching Drew Mac. That didn't happen at all. Seth was too involved.
At the start.
Exactly. So I'm saying if you're gonna do that anyways,
Yeah.
if you're gonna separate them anyways, Seth Rollins immediately inflicted his control over the match. You're gonna have them start on opposite ends of the thing and then do the referee thing because he wanted to be involved in the match as much as possible. Then you do the lockup. You do the 5 minutes that Focus is saying that we needed a little bit more spots because by the time he got to the smashing his head on the steel steps and then Drew McIntyre getting his little revenge with Seth turning his back on the situation, it would have meant more. So I agree with him on that.
Yeah.
I agree with what you're saying, but that still didn't happen. Like he didn't run like. When you talk about bluff use and a start like that, I'm thinking the Rock, Stone Cold championship match. He's running down. He's not even walking, posing with. Throws the title, starts running straight into SmackDown.
Right.
That would have been the better way to start it.
You know what's crazy?
But Seth Rollins being added to this match, I think it was unnecessary. It was just a way to give Seth Rollins something. It was unnecessary.
And it was a way to tap into nostalgia because historically SummerSlam had special guest referee matches and everything. I mean, even if you look at their attire, CM Punk was dressed as Bret.
They were doing the Bret Hart
and-
97 match.
Seth was Michaels and McIntyre was the Undertaker.
Yeah.
So it was like, they was trying to tap into nostalgia too, but it's like at the same time, stop this stuff.
They should have just taken some spots from. They could have literally taken some legit spots just from that match.
Arch, can we take a moment to mention that I can't stand Seth's gimmick at this point. The way he's dressing, all that shit.
I love it.
It's so corny to me. So
it.
one of the highlights of this match was when CM Punk thinks Seth is trying to interfere or play mind games because he ends up picking up the bracelet after Drew McIntyre plays his mind game. CM Punk takes it off. They end up fighting. It falls on the floor. He puts it on. He goes, "Are you kidding me right now? With your stupid Sabu pants?" Yeah. I had to stop and just die laughing
I
at
remember
that part.
that part.
I was feeling the bedazzled
Right.
referee shit.
Right.
I feel like that should be used for all premium live events. Like just
Yeah,
have
the
diamonds, just the diamonds.
bedazzled WWE logo and then the black stripe instead of being a stripe, it was like mesh.
Nah, I don't like the mesh.
Like the
like
mesh. It was like lingerie, like the lingerie
Yeah.
island style he been wearing.
Yeah. I'm just glad he didn't do the Shawn Michaels shorts. I'm glad he didn't do the Shawn Michaels shorts. I'm glad he didn't do that. But yeah, this was
Just for CM Punk calling him out on the Sabu pants, I'm glad he wore those.
it was. I mean, I thought it was a fun match. I do think I agree both with you. They could have added a few more spots. Hell, they could have just taken some spots directly from the Bret Hart and Undertaker match. The figure four on the ring post, all that. You can always take spots from the Bret Hart matches, man. But yeah. It was cool. I disagree with you guys with the Seth Rollins thing. I think Seth Rollins perfectly inserts in it. He had feuds with both of them, beefs with both of them, and I personally wanted to see Seth versus Punk anyway from the feud they had from before. So I think it just makes sense for him to get involved with it. I wish he wasn't so involved with this match at the beginning, and that could have been drawn out a little bit more. But other than that, yeah, it was a fun match.
My reason behind it is because literally outside of we obviously know the original plan was CM Punk versus Seth Rollins World Championship at Mania, but with injuries and swerves and all this that has happened, we didn't get it. So this is their way to reinsert that narrative back, especially at Money in the Bank. When CM Punk interfered, he also interfered in the match that Seth Rollins was involved, and Damian Priest ended up being the one beating both of them. Understand that, but I feel like this was such a blood feud that it should have just been focused on just CM Punk and just Drew McIntyre. That third element of Seth Rollins, I get it, and that match is gonna take place in the near future. I get it, but it took away from the heat between the other two. Because now you're like, okay, this third person got his beef, so now we're laughing at Seth Rollins' involvement instead of being invested in the violence that is happening between the two in the
That's why I
club.
says it needed to get extra 5
It
minutes.
needed the 5 minutes, and
5 to 10.
I think
should have added some tables.
I would have rather
They're
it
chanting for
be, let's say, like a no holds barred or unsanctioned match, and then we get the Seth Rollins interference. I would have rather that than have Seth Rollins as a ref. And this is not knocking the match; it was a good match.
Yeah.
But I think Seth's involvement should have been something different, or he shouldn't have been such a force.
I feel like
he shaped that match for them.
If they really wanted Seth Rollins in it, they should have been a triple threat #1 contenders match.
Yeah, or that.
Yeah,
or that.
I think they're saving that though. I think that's inevitable for this to be a triple threat. I think they're just prolonging it for another PLE or something like that. That's
we got Berlin coming up.
So. Yeah, it's like in 4 weeks. Yeah, I think they're gonna do something big for Bad Blood in Atlanta. So there's a lot of stuff on the card. Next up, I feel like this is kind of like a triple main event for me personally. I feel like that blood feud, it could be, depending on how things play out, that could be like one of like the feuds of the year. But next up, we have the Ring General Gunther.
The Ring
Gunther versus the World Heavyweight Champion. Scheme say it. El Capo.
El Campeon.
El Campeon. Damian Priest. Boricua Teca. Punishment Martinez. If you know, you know. You know what I'm saying? I really enjoyed his run. I agree with a lot of things that Triple H said. I think a lot of the criticism was at first with Damian Priest with that. Oh, they put the belt on him. He kind of not snuck in, but he cashed in at Mania, with the whole Priest and Seth and Punk thing. And people kind of didn't necessarily give him the respect. But I definitely think through promos, through turning face, by being the leader of the Judgment Day, and just by looking like a champion and wrestling like a fucking champion, he is that guy.
He was a fighting champion.
He was a fighting champion for me. This was the match of the night.
People thought that he was gonna be people thought he was gonna be transitional, but he ended up, not only carrying the belt, he carried it just as good as Seth did when he was trying to defend it goddamn near every week. He actually went to his challenges and like, hey, I want to fight you. Let's do this in this next pay-per-view, whatever. So you got to give him respect and all of that. That he wasn't no pussy transitional champion. He actually stepped up, put his bootstraps on and became that person that he needed to be to carry that title.
I think what the cloud that was over his reign was like the mishaps, the shit he couldn't even control, getting hung up on the ropes, those little instances that just kept happening every other,
or the production not hitting the music cue on time.
Just so much shit happening.
So or him pushing Gunther to the rope so that Finn Balor could put the leg on.
which my nephew ended up calling me about. Literally, as soon as the match was over, like, it was a good match, but did he have to roll him?
He did kind of.
He absolutely did roll.
He did.
And I'm like, bro, that's
This is the
not
thing.
that's not what you do as a champion.
Good thing
I
I
felt like-
spot.
I felt like with all the mishaps that happened his reign aside, the way he was booked in this, like he wanted to be the fighting champion.
Mhm.
He wanted to be a champion that won on his own accord, didn't have to cheat to win. He
Right.
wanted to prove himself. So I think what this reign did for him was give us enough insight into Damian Priest, so by the time he gets his second run, it's more meaningful than his first run.
Mhm.
His first one was like I don't understand right now,
Right.
but you'll get it down the line. And I feel like by the time he gets to his second world title run or his second opportunity, the fans are gonna be 100% behind him. I think he'll have more,
Yeah.
but they have to pull the trigger on that within the next 6 months to a year, because they can't draw that shit out. If we forget the kind of champion he was trying to be and the person that he's becoming, with the betrayal of the Judgment Day and everything that happened between him and Finn Balor in the match, if they don't pull that trigger soon, they're gonna forget all that work that was just done. And the fucked up thing is, you lost to Gunther. So you might not get that belt.
Well, I
And then not only that, bro,
Forever.
the next pay-per-view is Bash in Berlin. And if you're gonna do your rematch clause, it's gonna be in
His territory.
his
Yeah,
territory.
that's why
Not
I
AEW territory.
That's why I thought. That's why I thought he was gonna win. I really thought he was gonna win, but it's
Incursions, bro.
My bad.
Incursions. All right, but yeah, I was really. I mean, this is once again, Damian Priest found out that he got his back turned on him by Finn by looking up at the big screen and seeing that Finn turned his back on him. And I like this heel turn Finn. I like heel Finn. This is Prince Devitt. You know what I'm saying? This is the real rock and roller right here. So
I mean, it was a long time coming. If you've been watching,
planting the seeds, planting it.
it's a long time coming. In reality, Finn Balor actually is right to turn on Damian Priest, because every time, as honorable as Damian Priest has been the past couple of months, every time there was an accusation or something he didn't like, he's accusing Finn
Yeah.
or bullying Finn or treating Finn like he's a weaker member of the group. And technically, Judgment Day is family. There are no leaders.
Right.
But Damian Priest was trying to assert his role as leader the moment Rhea got injured.
Right.
And shortly before that, when Rhea was kind of doing her own thing and wasn't kind of heavily into the Judgment Day shit with the guys, but he was trying to assert that leadership. So
Once he won that shit,
Finn, this is the thing about these stories. Everyone, depending on how you view it, everyone is right for how they feel.
everybody have justifiable
And this is
reasons.
why I
for
love
actions.
current WWE.
And even before that, before Finn even joined Judgment Day, he vowed with Liv Morgan to destroy the Judgment Day. And guess what they did today? I mean,
I
yesterday.
don't remember that part, but
When he was with Styles and Liv Morgan, and they made this offshoot of the Bullet Club before Finn joined with Judgment Day, when they were still with Edge.
but not only that. Dominic Mysterio got his ass beat week to week by Rhea Ripley and the Judgment Day in order for him to join.
Right.
So the heel turn, the not even the heel turn, because you can't turn heel.
He went from dirty down to filthy down.
He went filthier. He went down the dirty path.
Right.
He just straight filth.
Filthy down now.
But it's justified.
Right.
So
Liv
now
Morgan is justified. Rhea Ripley is kind of justified. Damian Priest is kind of justified. But depending on the view on who you like better,
at Shoulder Slam, Judgment Day got judged.
That's exactly what happened.
Shoulder Slam.
Right.
Oh Lord.
Shoulder Slam, Judgment Day, got judged. All right, now for our main event, we have the new tribal chief, Solo Sikoa versus the American Dream, Cody Rhodes. I'm gonna cut straight to the chase, kind of like kind of like a straight like Multiverse of Madness, straight like Deadpool versus Wolverine, the cameos. Okay, you know what I'm saying? We had the Bloodline jump in there. You know what I'm saying? Okay, shout out to Tonga Low.
Is that what Bloodline Rules match means? It's just gonna be cameo filled,
yes,
like,
it's gonna be cameo filled.
like
yes.
disrespect the cameos, like
Yes.
it's straight up match, and then we're gonna get some interference, and then this guy's gonna come in, and then this guy's gonna show
In my
up, and
opinion,
that guy, and this guy.
there wasn't enough cameos.
It wasn't.
Not enough.
There wasn't.
For 2-3
It
years.
wasn't.
For 2-3 years.
Hold on. We had Tonga Low, Jacob Fatu, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, and the return of my tribal chief, our tribal chief. Acknowledge that man, Roman Reigns. You know what I'm saying? Acknowledge our tribal chief. You know what I'm saying? He came back.
He's the OTC to me.
You know what I'm saying?
I didn't never acknowledge Solo as the
Sorry,
tribal
so
chief.
I never acknowledged him.
But I feel like we could have had The Rock come back.
Oh yeah.
We could have had Jimmy. We could have had Jay
Jimmy
involved.
and Jay,
I'm
yeah.
surprised
We
Jay
could
did
have
not
had.
come back.
We could have had Zilla Fatu.
Zella was in the
He was-
in the
He
stands.
was in his dance. He was
So-
actually
Should have came.
right.
I agree.
Rikishi even could have
Nah.
came.
Keep Rikishi out of it.
You know, you do it.
Unless he's gonna be like, I'm the elder, and I did it for the rap. I said Solo Sikoa, but I did it for the rap.
You may be my son, but I did it for Roman.
I did it for the rap. Nah,
It was a cameo, you know.
I feel like it could have had just at least bare minimum, at least a Jimmy J appearance.
and I'm ready for them to come back.
And
here.
the
I'm ready
honorary
for it.
Usos comes in.
You know what? Now that Roman is back, I can see the slow trickle of getting Jimmy back for
Right.
revenge,
Mhm.
getting Paul Heyman back into TV,
Right.
and then Jay kind of like, yo, y'all kind of need my help. These dudes is bugging out,
Right.
and plus they ain't pulling the trigger on my mid card title run anytime soon. So I might as well help y'all.
They bow to after this one.
War
After this
games.
one.
Yeah,
After
this-
this one.
We're
you know
get-
what
this
I'm saying?
this storyline is heading directly
We're gonna be
to
seeing that shit
Survivor
2
Series.
years from now. Right?
War games.
I only have one request, and that's them to bring back Armando Estrada and have him face off against Paul Heyman.
I agree,
And Paul Heyman has to whip his ass. There's
and he has to be the direct manager of Jacob Fatu
exactly
because that I
that's the
fear
new
that man
bloodline.
can't speak on the mic.
That's the new
I have a feeling.
that's the new bloodline wise man.
Okay.
But speaking of Jacob Fatu, that splash off the table, he had people legitimately thinking he was injured, and I'm here like it's a work.
Yeah.
This is to get him out of the running for the eventual return of the one and only tribal chief,
Right.
which
Right.
ended up being the case. But
See,
good work on his behalf. Sold it really well,
yeah.
screaming about his leg, and then try to stand on it, falls, throws the chair like, "Oh, get him!" He was out of the picture. Roman Reigns looks like he's in good shape. Didn't miss a heartbeat with that freaking Superman punch into the spear. I just can't wait to see.
I mean,
I
that's-
want to see the story build up to this next war game. That's all I'm happy about this.
He only took a couple more weeks off than he usually does when he was champion, so it's not like it's not like I'm just
The disrespect.
what?
Disrespect.
It's my tribal chief, bro.
He's never taken almost 6 months straight. He's never done that.
It took like 4.
The last time he did was leukemia.
That's what I'm saying. Wasn't he gone for like longer than 6 months?
No, well, during leukemia, I think he was only out for
We
like
got so used to. We
He
got
was
so
like
used
9
to.
months. He's gone for a long time.
No, but this. But
Well,
honestly,
he didn't stay a whole calendar year out. I could say that.
nah. But honestly, the after he hits a spear, then Cody picks up Solo, hits the crossroads, staring at Roman the entire time, pins him 1, 2, 3, and the stare between
Yeah, because
Roman
the last time
and
we
Cody,
see Roman,
right?
he's losing the championship to Cody. So it's like
That stare, that was cinema right there. That was
Like,
tension. That was
we
tension.
still got this work that needs to get put in because I need my rematch. But my family business is more prevalent right now.
We have to take care of that because it was short of both of us.
Yeah,
So,
I like Solo's like selling work on the outside when Roman showed up, speared him, he lost, he was out there screaming, no, no. So, you know, I think out of all this, people not giving Solo his flowers enough. Cause yeah, we know he's not the tribal chief and he's not even comparable to the tribal chief, but that is the whole fucking point of the gimmick.
That's what I'm saying.
He's not supposed to fill the shoes.
right.
Like that is the whole point.
Yeah.
So I love
He's the false king.
yeah, false king.
Right.
I love everything that Solo did that night. I don't know if this is his first main event.
This is his first
Right?
main event.
It's his first main
PLE.
event.
Well, PLE. Yeah, his first.
So
yeah.
yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
As far as a pay-per-view, but he held his own. It wasn't slow, it was interesting. I think the cameos did come out in the moments that they needed to, it wasn't drag, and it was like a 40-something minute.
Yeah, the cameos were perfect. I feel like the cameos were perfect. They came out when they needed. It's for my personal preference, not my style of main event, but I love the cameos. I knew what I was getting expecting it, so I wasn't expect. You know, I got that in the Gunther Damian Priest match for my style of wrestling. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I had fun. Like I said, the stare down between Roman and Cody. That oh my gosh, that right there. Like if you know, you know. That was perfect for me. So yeah, SummerSlam was fun. Shoulder Slam was great.
Yeah, I really didn't have big disappointments about the pay-per-view. I didn't have anything that was really nagging me, like any negatives. The show from beginning to end was on a high note. I stand firm on I throw that Rhea Ripley Liv Morgan match against any match of the night. The Bloodline Rules match was good. I got to see my tribal chief come back. We can all acknowledge him from week to week now. Bring back my wise man I was straight, you know. But overall, I like all the title changes. There was about 4 title changes on this card, so I didn't really disagree with almost anything.
All the titles changed.
It was definitely worth it.
All the titles changed.
Yeah.
All the titles changed.
No, they didn't.
Who retained?
Cody retained. Liv Morgan retained. 4 championships that changed hands though.
Somebody's titles.
The mid card belts, pretty much. Bailey's belt, and then
It was fun. It was fun.
was it just 3 titles?
Fun Mania,
He
good
should
show.
have had a state
Mania.
championship.
Right, but you know, guys, we could do this all day. We could do this.
We could definitely do this all day. So
tell the folks where they can find you at.
they can find us at Kayfabe Avenue. We're on all streaming platforms, everywhere you get your podcasts. So check us out all at Kayfabe Avenue.
That being said, I bid you adieu. Goodbye. Good night.
Take us home.